Imagine walking into a fast food joint and ordering a meal for your teenager every single day. Burgers, fries, and soda. Sure, they'll eat it, but before long they'll be sluggish, cranky, and definitely not at their best. Now what if I told you that's exactly what most people are doing to their chickens? Yes, those big bags of grain you're buying, they're the chicken equivalent of junk food. And guess what? The Amish figured out a better way. Healthier, cheaper, and downright genius. Stick around because this $1 Amish chicken feeding trick is about to change everything you thought you knew about raising chickens. Why store-bought feed is overrated. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Commercial chicken feed. When I first got my flock, I did what most people do. I went straight to the feed store, grabbed a big old bag of grain, and dumped it into the feeder, expecting my chickens to worship me. And they weren't impressed. They pecked at it, scratched around, but they never seemed excited. The eggs were fine, but nothing to write home about. Then it hit me. If I ate nothing but dry cereal every day, I wouldn't be at peak performance either. So why was I expecting my chickens to thrive on something that looked like it belonged in a hamster cage? At first, I told myself, well, this is what everyone else does, so it must be right. But here's the thing. Just because something is common doesn't mean it's the best option. Commercial feed is essentially the chicken version of processed fast food. Convenient, widely available, and loaded with fillers. The big feed companies push the idea that grain-based pellets are the only way to go. But guess what? Chickens weren't raised on factory-made pellets 100 years ago, and they certainly don't need them now. Here's something that'll blow your mind. Grain-heavy diets can actually make chickens sluggish and less productive. The high carb content gives them quick energy, but just like us after a sugar crash, they end up lazing around instead of being the happy, active foragers they're meant to be. Even worse, relying solely on grain deprives them of essential nutrients found in a more varied, natural diet. And let's not even start on the cost. Lugging home those heavy bags month after month? Yeah, that adds up fast. So I started digging literally and figuratively for a better way. That's when I stumbled upon the Amish method, and let me tell you, it was a total game changer. The Amish don't rely on store-bought feed because they know a secret most modern farmers overlook. Chickens are scavengers by nature. They're designed to peck, scratch, and hunt for their meals, not just wait around for a feeder to magically refill. By tapping into their natural instincts, the Amish managed to raise healthier birds for a fraction of the cost. And here's where things got interesting. Once I started tweaking my chicken's diet using this old-school approach, I noticed something almost immediately. Their energy levels skyrocketed. No more lazy, half-hearted pecking. They were out there scratching the dirt, chasing bugs, and actually getting excited about their food. Their feathers became shinier, their combs turned a deeper red, and when I cracked open an egg, that yolk was the richest, deepest orange I'd ever seen. The best part, my feed bill dropped by almost 75%. Instead of spending a small fortune on commercial feed, I started incorporating kitchen scraps, letting my chickens free range more, and even fermenting feed to make it last longer. And guess what? Not only did it worked better than I ever expected. The Amish secret. The Amish have cracked the code on raising healthy, happy birds without spending a fortune on commercial feed. This isn't just about saving money. It's about getting back to the way chickens were meant to eat. And the results? Better eggs, more energetic chickens, and a more sustainable way to run your coop. So let's dive into how this low-cost, high-reward method actually works. Kitchen scraps. Chickens are the ultimate food recyclers. If you've ever tossed something into their run, you know they'll peck at just about anything. The Amish take full advantage of this by turning kitchen scraps into premium poultry nutrition. Instead of dumping money into store-bought grain, they feed their flocks leftovers, vegetable peels, fruit scraps, stale bread, rice, and even eggshells. That's right, eggshells. They're packed with calcium, which is essential for strong eggshells, making this a perfect cycle of nutrients. Even dairy gets a thumbs up in moderation. A little bit of cheese, yogurt, or sour milk gives chickens an extra protein boost. And guess what? Absolutely no food goes to waste. Instead of tossing out that half-eaten apple or leftover rice, it becomes a feast for your birds. Not only does this method slash feeding costs, but it also leads to a more balanced diet, mimicking the variety chickens would naturally eat in the wild. But here's the key: balance. You don't want to overload them with just one type of scrap. Mixing things up ensures they're getting a wide range of vitamins and minerals. And if you're worried about what's safe, a simple rule of thumb is this: if it's natural and unprocessed, it's probably fine. Just avoid anything salty, overly sugary, or moldy. Another secret? Cooked leftovers can actually be a powerhouse for your flock. While raw scraps are great, giving them lightly cooked vegetables, pasta, or grains makes certain nutrients even easier to digest. And don't be afraid to get creative. Chickens love variety. Ever tried giving them pumpkin guts after carving a jack-o'-lantern? They go crazy for it. Watermelon rinds in the summer? Pure happiness. This method doesn't just save money, it turns feeding time into an exciting event. Instead of passively pecking at dry pellets, your chickens will actively hunt through their scraps, scratching, foraging, and fully engaging with their food. It keeps them entertained, encourages natural behaviors, and leads to happier, healthier birds. And here's a bonus: fewer pests. By cutting down on uneaten feed sitting around, you're reducing the chances of attracting rodents or insects to your coop. That means less cleaning, fewer problems, and a healthier environment overall. So next time you're about to toss those veggie trimmings or the last bit of rice, stop and think. Your chickens will love it, and your wallet will thank you. Let them forage. Now let's talk about letting chickens do what they do best: forage. Ever watched a chicken scratch around in the dirt? They're not just goofing off, they're hunting. Bugs, worms, seeds, weeds, they're all part of a balanced chicken diet. And the best part, it's 100% free. The Amish know that chickens are nature's pest control experts. By giving them access to open spaces, they slash feed costs while boosting their birds' protein intake. Chickens that roam freely get a natural buffet of micronutrients that processed grains simply can't provide. And here's a major plus: the exercise keeps them lean, strong, and less prone to disease. Birds that move more stay healthier, lay better eggs, and avoid common issues like obesity or weak bones. Don't have acres of land? No worries. Even a modest backyard or a portable chicken tractor can make a world of difference. A couple of hours of foraging each day transforms their diet, improves their mental stimulation, and makes them less dependent on store-bought feed. If predators are a concern, you can still offer safe foraging opportunities by creating a secure outdoor run filled with natural elements like compost piles, leaf litter, and grass clippings. Another simple trick: rotate their access areas. Chickens are fantastic at clearing weeds, aerating the soil, and even controlling insect populations. If you have a garden, setting up a rotational foraging system allows them to work the land for you while getting fresh food daily. Just be mindful and give them access before planting or after. Harvesting, unless you want them to help by eating your veggies. And let's not forget the flavor upgrade. Eggs from free-ranging chickens are next level. Deep orange yolks, richer taste, and firmer whites, all thanks to a varied natural diet. Once you experience eggs from foraging-fed chickens, you'll never look at store-bought ones the same way again. So whether you let your flock roam free or set up creative ways to mimic their natural habits, one thing's for sure. Happy, active chickens mean better eggs, lower feed bills, and a healthier, more sustainable way to raise your flock. Fermented feed. Now this is where things get really interesting. If you want to supercharge your flock's nutrition, fermented feed is the secret trick you didn't know you needed. It might sound like some fancy science experiment, but trust me, it's easier than making a sandwich. By soaking feed scraps and grains in water for a couple of days, you kickstart the fermentation process, creating a probiotic powerhouse that makes every bite more nutritious, easier to digest, and far more beneficial for your chickens. Think of it as chicken yogurt, packed with good bacteria that boost gut health, improve digestion, and maximize nutrient absorption. And the best part? Because their bodies are making better use of the food, you actually end up feeding them less while getting better results. That's right, less feed, bigger benefits. This means lower costs, healthier birds, and eggs so rich in flavor you'll wonder why you didn't start fermenting sooner. Fermentation breaks down hard-to-digest compounds in grains, making nutrients more bioavailable, so your chickens get more out of every bite instead of wasting half of it. The added probiotics also strengthen their immune system, leading to fewer sick birds and less stress for you. Another overlooked benefit is hydration. Since fermented feed soaks up water, your flock stays naturally hydrated, which is especially useful during hot weather. And if you think that's all, here's something you'll love. Fermenting feed reduces the smell of chicken poop. Yes, you read that right. When digestion improves, waste becomes less acidic and less smelly, making your coop a much fresher place. Plus, the added nutrition directly translates into deeper colored, more nutrient-dense egg yolks, making store-bought eggs look pale and lifeless in comparison. Making fermented feed is ridiculously simple. Grab a bucket, toss in some grains or kitchen scraps, things like oats, wheat, vegetable peels, or even old bread. Fill it with water just enough to submerge everything, and leave it at room temperature for 24 to 48 hours. Stir occasionally, and once it starts to smell slightly tangy, like sourdough or yogurt, it's ready to go. Drain the excess liquid, which by the way makes a great compost booster, and serve it to your chickens. If you're worried about getting it wrong, don't be. Just make sure you don't let it sit too long. Anything over 3 days can start to turn rancid. Use a breathable cover like a cloth or a loose lid to keep bugs out while letting gases escape. And here's a cool trick. Save a little of the liquid from each batch to jumpstart the next one, speeding up fermentation and making the whole process even easier. You can experiment with different grains to see what your flock loves best. Corn, barley, wheat, or even a mix of everything. The results will blow your mind. At the end of the day, if you're not fermenting your chicken feed, you're missing out on free nutrition, stronger birds, and better eggs, all while saving money. Once you see the difference it makes, you'll never go back to plain dry feed again. Why does this method work? After switching to the Amish way, my chickens completely transformed. Their feathers gleamed like they'd just stepped out of a high-end salon. Their energy levels shot through the roof, and the eggs. Those yolks weren't just yellow anymore. They were the deepest, richest orange, like tiny golden suns sitting in my frying pan. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was like my flock had leveled up overnight. And the best part? My wallet was thanking me. Instead of burning through overpriced bags of commercial feed every couple of weeks, I was now spending about $1 and some change per week. That's less than a cup of gas station coffee. And yet, my chickens were thriving like never before. And let's talk eggs for a second. Do you think store-bought eggs are fresh? Crack open one of these Amish-fed beauties, and you'll never look at supermarket eggs the same way again. The yolks are so rich, so firm, and so loaded with nutrients. It's almost like they belong to an entirely different species of chicken. And the taste? Forget watery, flavorless eggs. These have depth. They actually taste like eggs are supposed to taste. Another unexpected win? The health of my chickens improved dramatically. Before, I deal with the occasional sluggish hen, the random bout of soft-shelled eggs, or just a general lack of enthusiasm in my flock. But now, no more weird health issues, no more mystery molting, just strong, active birds that actually seem excited about life. The Amish method just makes sense. Chickens are natural foragers. They're not built to survive on factory-made pellets alone. By letting them eat a more diverse, nutrient-rich diet, scraps, greens, bugs, and fermented grains, they get everything they need without unnecessary fillers. And let's not forget digestion. Fermenting their food not only stretches it further, but it also makes it easier for them to absorb nutrients, leading to healthier birds and better eggs. At this point, I don't just recommend this method, I swear by it. If you've got chickens and you're tired of spending way too much on mediocre feed, do yourself and your flock a favor and give this a try. You'll save money, you'll get better eggs, and your chickens will probably start worshiping you like the food god you are. It's a win-win-win. Why farmers don't want you to know this? Now you might be wondering, if this method is so great, why isn't everyone doing it? Simple. The big feed companies don't want you to know. They've built an entire industry around making you think that the only way to keep healthy, egg-laying chickens is by buying their neatly packaged, mass-produced grain mixes. They slap on labels with words like premium, high protein, or scientifically formulated, to make you feel like you're giving your flock the best. But guess what? Those labels are just fancy marketing. Your chickens? They don't care about a shiny bag with a corporate logo. Think about it. Before commercial feed was even a thing, how did chickens survive? They foraged, scratched, pecked, and ate whatever they could find. And they thrived. But here's the kicker. If you start feeding your chickens for almost nothing, those billion-dollar companies stop making money off you. And that's bad for business. So instead of telling you that your chickens will be just fine on a diet of scraps, bugs, and fermented grains, they push the idea that a steady diet of dry, processed feed is the only way to go. They make it seem like your birds will drop dead the moment they eat something that didn't come from a pre-mixed bag. But the reality? Chickens are some of the most resilient, adaptable animals on the planet. They don't need factory-made pellets. They need real food. And let's talk about the real reason commercial feed is so expensive. It's not because it's made with premium ingredients. It's because they add fillers, cheap grains, byproducts, and synthetic vitamins to make it seem like you're getting more for your money. But in reality, you're paying a premium for something that doesn't even come close to the nutrient value of a naturally diverse diet. Here's another thing those companies don't mention. Chickens that eat a variety of foods are not only healthier, but they also live longer and lay better eggs. And it's not just the Amish who have been doing this forever. Plenty of old-school farmers know the truth too, but you won't hear them shouting it from the rooftops. Because selling feed is profitable. Keeping people dependent on expensive grain bags ensures a steady stream of cash rolling in. But here's the bottom line. Your chickens don't need overpriced commercial feed. They need food that mimics what they'd eat in the wild. Scraps, insects, fermented grains, and whatever they can scratch up on their own. If you switch to this method, not only will your birds be happier and healthier, but you'll save a ton of money in the process. So why keep paying for something that's unnecessary? Once you see the difference, you'll never go back. And trust me, your chickens will thank you for it. How to start. Simple steps to switch. All right, so you're ready to shake things up and ditch the overpriced feed bags. Good choice. But where do you start? First off, don't overthink it. You don't need a master's degree in chicken nutrition to make this work. The goal is simple. Give your chickens a diet that's more natural, more diverse, and way cheaper than those store-bought pellets. Step 1. Start with your kitchen scraps. I'm talking about vegetable peels, leftover rice, fruit cores, stale bread, and even bits of meat. Yes, chickens are omnivores. They'll happily gobble down a piece of scrambled eggs, weird I know, or a chunk of last night's chicken dinner, even weirder. But they love it. The more variety, the better. This not only keeps them entertained, but also gives them the vitamins and minerals they'd never get from plain grain feed. Step 2. Let them forage. If you've got a backyard, a garden, or even a patch of grass, let your chickens loose for a few hours a day. They'll scratch around, eat bugs, and nibble on plants, all of which are packed with nutrients. And here's a fun fact. Chickens that forage naturally get way more protein from bugs than they do from grain. Translation: stronger, healthier birds that lay eggs with richer yolks. Now, if you really want to level up, step 3 is where the magic happens. Fermenting their feed. It sounds fancy, but it's ridiculously easy. Just grab a bucket, toss in some grains of corn, oats, wheat, whatever you have. Cover it with water and let it sit for a couple of days. That's it. The fermentation process breaks down the grains, making them easier to digest and more nutritious. Plus, it creates beneficial probiotics that improve gut health, which means fewer chicken illnesses and more consistent egg production. And if you're still on the fence, just try it for a week. Start by replacing 25% of their grain feed with kitchen scraps and let them free range a little more. If you're feeling adventurous, throw in a batch of fermented feed and see what happens. I guarantee you'll notice a difference. Happier chickens, shinier feathers, and eggs that look and taste like they came from another planet. The best part, you'll be saving money while doing it. Instead of spending $20 on a bag of feed that disappears in a few weeks, you'll be feeding your flock for pennies. No more. Lugging heavy bags, no more overpriced filler food, and no more boring factory-farmed eggs. Once you make the switch, there's no going back. Your chickens will be healthier, your wallet will be heavier, and your breakfasts, they'll be next-level delicious. So what are you waiting for? Give it a shot. Your flock will thank you. What do you think? Are you ready to ditch the overpriced feed and give your chickens the diet they actually want? Imagine saving money while watching your flock thrive, laying eggs with deep golden yolks and running toward you like you're their favorite person in the world. Sounds pretty great, right? Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Are you planning to try this out? Have you already experimented with scraps, foraging, or fermented feed? I'd love to hear about your experience and what's worked best for your flock. And if you have any extra tips or creative feed ideas, don't hold back. This community is all about helping each other raise happy, healthy chickens without breaking the bank. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more game-changing tips. We've got plenty more secrets to uncover, from DIY hacks to Amish farming tricks that big agricultural companies don't want you to know. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Until then, go give your chickens something they actually enjoy. Trust me, they'll thank you for it. See you in the next one.